This episode of Epic Thoughts is brought to you in part by StreamYard. Yo, you've been talking about doing a podcast forever and you don't know where to start. I get that. Yo, StreamYard is here to help you. StreamYard does everything for you. It sends it to all the places that you want the podcast to go. If you have an RTTP, it'll send it to it. You have a YouTube channel, it'll send it to it. You have a Facebook, it'll send it to it. As a matter of fact, you can even go live on your computer and send it directly to where you need it to go. You can also have audio and video downloads so you can send it to your Spotify page. It does everything for you. It has video assets. You can add videos. You can even add media now. You can add text. You can add scrolling text. You can do so many different things. The list goes on and on and on. StreamYard is here to help you take your podcast to the next level. Hey, here at Epic Thoughts and Heritage Park, we use StreamYard for everything on our podcast. And so, listen, I'm telling you, it's easy to use and it's great to use. So be a part of the team. Join StreamYard today. Click the link in the description and get started. All right? God bless. All you need for a Winnie the Pooh costume this year is a red t-shirt and a lot of courage. This is Epic Thoughts. Epic Thoughts on a Wednesday. Epic Thoughts on a Wednesday. What up? What up? What up? 10 points for whoever can tell me what television show that's from. What up? What up? What up? Anyways, it's Epic Thoughts on Wednesday. We do Epic Thoughts on Wednesday because I didn't do it on Tuesday. Because something is going down and, you know, we can't just limit our podcast to just one day. We need to be more consistent. So because of that, we got situations happen. Tuesday happened and we had to get our hustle on. And that light kind of looks off. Can I change this light? I'm going to change this light. I know this is ghetto. I know, but listen. Here at Heritage Park, man, we want to make sure everything's dope, right? It's like, I don't like how that light, all right, it's better. Okay, that's a little bit, that's better. All right, anyways, how are you doing today? I hope you're doing well. I hope you're blessed, and I hope that the mercies of the Lord are flowing through your life. If you feel like it's not today, I want to just encourage you and let you know, bro, me too. And the dude got stabbed. He was like, me too. Yeah, that's one of my songs. Anyways, I just want to let you know I did an experiment this week with one of my life and business coaches. So listen, bro, you have life and business coaches? I got life and business coaches. I got therapists. And I even have some doctors that I work with. But on a weekly basis, I do have a life and business coach. And on a weekly basis, I meet with her. And then I also meet with my therapist once a week. So normally they used to be on one day and I would call it Wednesday. It used to be Wednesday. Wednesday was my personal health day. And it was the day that I would sit there and just vent, get stuff off. And because of scheduling, things have changed in the last year. So now it's Wednesday and Thursday, kind of give half a day, or not even half a day, just like an hour here, hour there. And so maybe 2 hours at some points. So we did this activity with my life and business coach, and it was kind of an eye-opening thing. We went through, we did a list of projects and things in my life that are half done. And not half done as in saying, oh, I half-assed it. No, these are things that I've actually didn't complete, things that I started and didn't complete. And even after we went through a list and we started talking about why certain projects didn't get done and things of that nature. And it was so interesting how I became my own worst enemy, right? And I was like, dang, I'm my own worst enemy. That's crazy. And I was making excuses for how I felt. And then most of the problems were because of how I felt or how I was perceived or how I felt I was perceived. And not necessarily because it got too hard, or the stakes became too high, or hit a roadblock, which, we always hit roadblocks, but I've never been one to be shut down from a roadblock. I've always been shut down because of me. And a lot of it has to do with emotions and how I feel perceived. And it was crazy how when you compound the daily journeys of life, when you compound all the battles that you face, when you compound the struggles that you are dealing with in your life, when you compound that to your own emotions of how you feel about yourself, you have a very false sense of reality that kind of kicks in. And it was really one of those things where I'm like, man, for the last such and such time of my life, I have been really down on myself because I was predetermining what other people thought of me. And I was using that as the reference to how I feel about myself. It was really impactful. It was impactful because it was like, you're deciding for other people. You're deciding for other people how they feel about you. You're deciding for other people what's the purpose of their life. You're deciding for other people how they are going to perceive you without even caring about those things and just putting your stuff out there. I wonder how many of you have that same issue. How many of you have gotten to the place where you care a little bit too much about what people think? I'm telling you right now, this is one of my biggest faults. And I'll tell you, as an artist, if you are an artist of any kind, this is one of the things that will hurt your art. It will hurt your business. It will hurt everything. Is when you start trying to figure out how people feel about you. Where you start to create out of expectations of wanting to be loved, when you create out of expectations for wanting people to respect you and love you and be there for you, when you start having those kind of conversations that are unhealthy because you just want to be cared for, those are bad places to be. And so I found myself doing a lot of my, like, even writing and editing. I'm writing to the audience of people I know, right? And it's funny because, like, even in music, I'm always thinking, oh, such gonna like this song, and then not realizing that such may not even listen to that song. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you know, it's crazy? I'm gonna call some of my friends on. I'm gonna call some of my friends on the carpet right now, right? I'm making music for friends to love, and they don't even listen to it, right? Like, I have friends like who consider themselves best friends. They would consider themselves best friends to me. Have not read Hidden Agenda. Have not listened to Dreams, Visions, and Memories. Have not listened to the new singles, the two that have come out in a year. They have not listened to Drowning. They have not listened to Open the Eyes. They have not watched the episode. I have friends who have not watched the episode of Superficially Deep. I have friends who have never seen an episode of Archive or watch Epic Thoughts. They just say, "How's Epic Thoughts?" But they never watch it. Right? It's time to look. Now I'm saying maybe I need some new friends. I got friends who don't even haven't, like, these are friends who claim that they're like best friends, right? And maybe it's an expectation that I have that's not real. Maybe it's an expectation that I have that's not coming from a real place. But they don't even have downloaded HPTV on their phone or on their TV. They're nowhere. So they don't even know what's going on HPTV. So it's just crazy. But by the way, I just want to say a little shout out. The GMA Awards will be played on HPTV Thursday night, tomorrow night. Thursday night at there's a pre-show. I believe the pre-show is at 6:30, and then the show starts at 7:30 on HPTV live. Boom boom. So make sure you watch that. It's gonna be dope. On HPTV live. But yeah, but they don't even watch it. Don't even watch it. They'll tell me about other influencers and other businesses, or they'll tell me what Angel Studios is doing, but they have no idea, unless it comes from my mouth, what Heritage Park is doing. So, and it's funny because I always kind of keep them in mind when I create. I always keep them in mind when I'm doing stuff. Come to the conclusion, bro, they have no idea And they're not even supporters, you know, like, I don't have a lot of supporters, but I do have a handful. And my supporters are people I don't even know. We got numbers. We had 8,000 people streaming HP radio, right? We had 8,000 people streaming HP radio, most of them from Germany. None of my friends got HP radio. None of them. And these are I'm not talking about friends. I know there's some people who have those things. I'm talking about people who claim that they're like my best friend, right? If you was my best, never mind. I'm not gonna go there. So it's just crazy. It's just crazy that's the world we live in. But here, my point is, I'm creating stuff to people. I have no idea who's receiving it. I don't have no idea who's receiving it, right? My so-called best friends don't have social media. They're not on social media. So these thousands of people who are watching my videos and commenting and liking and all this and sharing and blah, 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 that's not my warm market. My warm market is not producing that. So it doesn't make sense. I don't know the temp. I don't know the tempo. I don't know the heartbeat of my own fan base. And I'm creating stuff with people in mind that do not support. So it's been a very big hindrance to what I've been trying to do, and what I think God is trying to use through me. I used to spend hours editing reels. One episode of Epic Thoughts, which was running about an hour, would take me almost a day and a half to come up with reels, to find the reels, to cut them, to put word on them, to put subtitles on it, to put B-roll. It would take forever, and it was exhausting. Man, I already recorded an hour worth of podcasting too, and it would take forever. Then I came across Taja.ai. It's an AI software that basically takes your long form and turns it to your reels and all the other content you need for your social media pages. It's that simple. You upload it, you click the button, go get a cup of coffee. When you come back, it can have anywhere between 5 to 40 different reels and content ideas just off of your one long form video. It's great. And they're one of our sponsors for Epic Thoughts. Listen, I love Taja.ai. It's so easy to use. And it also gives you a score telling you which post would be more engaging on which page. It does all the thinking for you. It's great. So try it. There's a link in the description below. Try Taja.ai. You are not going to be disappointed. It takes your long form, makes them in the short form. It creates reels. It even does your blog. It makes a blog out for you. Even posts for your X pages and your LinkedIn page. It's so great. All right. Give Taja.ai a chance. If you're making podcasts, and you're trying to shave some time off from the ridiculous hours of editing, try Taja.ai. The link is in the description. Have a great day. Back to the podcast. We have to be mindful of. We don't. We don't have to be mindful of what other people think about us. Because especially if you're a people pleaser like myself, I'm my own worst enemy. If I'm a people pleaser, I will always adjust the gift that God has for me to make myself feel better. Let me turn my phone off. That's get on my butt. Because I've looked so much, and I've been going to counseling for I've been seeing the same counselor now for 9 years. And the whole point of this counseling sessions and stuff like that is to get to a place where we're comfortable with each other. We are comfortable with each other, and I can share everything with him. But now we're working at letting go of the need to make people happy. Because you'll make your businesses and you'll do your creation out of the idea of, I gotta make this person happy. I gotta make this person happy. And let me tell you, it's so exhausting to try to please everyone. There's a lot of, I would think, at least coming into this, when I started doing this podcast, that, a lot of my fan base is going to be urban and they're going to be hip hop heads. And no, I got a lot of single moms. I got single moms and abuelas. God bless. Hello, Abuela. Abuela Martinez. Oh, she's not even an Abuela. Oh, I'm sorry. Didn't mean to call you that. Oh gosh. Anyways, who have to, but they deal with some of these similar issues. Like, I can't please everyone. I gotta do everything for everybody else. I gotta be mindful of this. I gotta fix this. I gotta do that. I gotta be here. I'm here for everybody, right? And so at the same time, we have to be a superhero and then a creator. We're like Nehemiah, where we have to build the wall and defend it at the same time. Well, I want to help you today in this episode. I want to make sure that we are understanding that something my dear friend Heidi Bosa, who's directed two of my music videos, she's actually directed two of my music videos, have shared with me. She said, "You are a human being, not a human doing." Sometimes the best idea is to just rest and just be. That's hard to say, right? That's hard to do. If we can be really honest, it's hard to do because we're so used to competing. We're so used to being like, I gotta be this type of person for everyone else. And we get caught up in that directive without understanding God wants us to be what he's created us to be. And everybody has got a different purpose, different calling. That's why I'm always big on, I don't believe in equality, because God created us all to be different. And so we're created to be different. We're created to walk through life differently. We're created to have different opinions, because we all have different gifts to reach different goals. All these goals are to honor the Lord, but we're all created with different gifts and different goals. Now, there's a scripture I'm going to share with you in a second that the very thing that God has gifted you with has got so much more purpose behind it. The enemy doesn't want us to walk in these things. Society doesn't want us to walk in these things. They want us to walk into their purpose because their purpose makes them rich. Just like if somebody was walking to and started doing your purpose, it'd make you rich. But people want us to do their thing because their thing benefits them. It benefits their system. It benefits their kingdom that they've created. But it's time that we start walking into our own kingdoms. It's time that we start walking into our own purposes. I think part of the frustration is knowing we should be there, but we're really over here. Part of the frustration is knowing I could be doing this, but I settled to do this. I should be here, but I continue to move in this area. And I think those days are coming to a very end. I think the level of frustration that you are facing is the clashing of, I need to be here, but I'm here. It's very hard. It's very hard to manage. And I think when you get exhausted in that area, when you get frustrated, when you get to the point where you're like, I'm done feeling this way, then you're ready to move. But until then, I think when you feel that depression, that anxiety, that hopelessness, and I'm telling you, man, like, as much as I want to tell you, man, I killed it. I have a homie who's killing it. He stepped out and he's become a social media influencer, and he's always been like a very creative person. And shout out to the boy Josiah. He killing it right now. He's killing it. But it came at a place where he was like, I'm done, bro. I'm done like this. Like, and for Gen Xers, this is really interesting for Gen Xers and older millennials. I don't want to say all millennials, older millennials and Gen Xers. We have we're created with a different kind of mindset, bro. Like, we're not thinkers. Like, we don't think like boomers. We definitely don't think like the young millennials and the Zs. And definitely we're far away from the alphas. We got some different, like, it had to be. Can you imagine if Gen Xers and older Ys were like had our parents' money, like our parents' economy? We'd be so the level of thriving. Let me just say right now, if Xers had the economy of the 90s at this time in our lives, we'd be so thriving. The game be over. Like, the game be over. We'd have a bunch of 40-year-old retirees. we be 45 and retired. I'm 45 retired. What you gonna do? I don't know. Go back to the league. Like we Gen Xers, if we had our parents' economy, we'd kill the game. We'd be killing the game. I'm just saying. The way you guys have been able to maneuver, the way we have to maneuver through a life, because it's just crazy. It's just crazy. But I say all that to say, I forgot what I was saying. I got so excited with that analogy. I got so excited with that analogy. I forgot what I was going to say. When you get to the point where you're done, like you're done living this life. I'm done living in lack. I'm done frustrated. I'm done crying about life. When you get to that point where you go, I'm done with this, and we get up, and we flick the dust off of our shoulders, and you take life by the reins, and you believe, and you start manifesting things. You start calling things out. Like I've never been about the gospel of calling out, name it and claim it. That's never been the gospel I've signed up for. I've never signed up for that gospel. I've heard people preach it. Maybe I made some references when I was a younger pastor, because that's what I believe, that if they believed it, I believed it. That's how I was when I was a younger pastor. Now that I'm older and more seasoned in ministry, I don't really subscribe to that gospel of name it and claim it. I do believe that God wants us to be wealthy. I do believe God, and our biggest wealth, the biggest way of showing that you're wealthy is your health. So lately I've been doing nothing but getting right, eating right, drinking right. Don't drink my calories. Cut out oils, man. Cut out saturated fats. Cut out saturated fats. Cut out pastas. Just cut out stuff. Adding vegetables back into my diet. Water like crazy. I got my Stanley cup with water now, because health is your number one source of wealth. I get that. It doesn't make money for you. For some people it do, but for me, it keeps me in the game. But if we can get our head wrapped around the naming and claiming, I don't believe in that, but I believe in manifestation. I believe that there's something about you speaking out. This is what's going to happen. This is what I believe is going to happen. There's something about that when you can walk into a situation and say, I believe this is going to happen. I believe the thing is going to turn around because God's going to provide, or God's going to give me an idea, or whatever. I do believe that there's some level of manifestation that I do kind of sign up. I do sign up for. I don't sign up for the name it and claim it. I don't believe you just walk up to a house, because here was my problem I always had with the name it and claim it principle, right? You can't walk up to a house and claim. I used to do that all the time because that's what my mom was taught me. And I will walk up there and be like, that's my house in the name of Jesus. And then, how? I always thought to myself, I used to think, even at a young age, I remember thinking to myself, if I named it and claimed it, and let's just say for the sake of argument, I got it. How how's it gonna keep it? Like, I'm naming and claiming the Mercedes Benz, but I don't have a job. Like, how was I going to manage paying for the Mercedes Benz? How am I going to pay a bank loan or mortgage for a house? I don't have a job that pays that. However, if God created us to be creative, we can create wealth. We can, and within creating wealth, get with coaches and build stewardship. And then you'll start feeling your spirit like, okay, I'm manifesting this happening now that's going to take this much managing. And I know that I got it. I know, God, you've given me equip me with the talent to do this. So Lord, I'm not only am I speaking this into existence, and we're not even speaking like selfish things. We're speaking into existence contracts, like business ideas. I'm speaking into existence business opportunities. I'm speaking to existence opportunities to grow my creativity, to grow Heritage Park to another level. I'm speaking to different avenues that you can do many things through me. I want to read you this scripture, actually. This is a good time to relay this scripture down. This is Proverbs 18:16. Proverbs 18:16. It says this: a man's gift makes room for him and brings him before great men. A man's gift makes room for him and brings him before great men. Your gift will make room for you and it will get you in front of people. One thing I will say about, I don't know if they're millennials as much. I'm losing track of them because now they're all just younger than me. He may be alpha. He may be Gen Z. Actually, he's not alpha. He's probably Gen Z. Anyways, whatever a 29-year-old is, he's about 29, 30 years old. I fool with this dude named Charlie. He's on social media. His name is Charlie. I don't know if he's a Christian, but he believes in manifestation big time. He reminds me of me when I was younger. That's why I fool with him. He talks a lot. He talks up, not a lot, but as in like irritating, but he talks a big game. And he reminds me of me when I was his age, because I used to do that stuff. I used to talk a big game. He was like, I'm going to be on the Nike commercial with LeBron James and Serena Williams. And he, was that 300 pounds. He started working out. He started running. He started doing Ironmans. He challenged himself by doing Ironmans, and he kept saying, I'm going to be this guy. He worked for some great artists. He was a man. I think he was a manager. He worked with different labels. I knew that for a fact, and wasn't making good money. He wasn't doing well for himself. That's why there's a lot of parallels I have with this guy. I would love to meet him one day because we have a lot of parallels. But and I just wanted to pick his brain because even he's younger. I know I'm older. I'm Unc, but I can still learn. Like, it gets to the point where if we think we can't learn from the younger generation, bro, you're stuck on stupid. You're stuck on stupid if you can't learn from the younger generation. They can learn from us too, but we can't be so prideful and be like, because I've this many years and around the world, I've been here this many years, I automatically know everything. You don't automatically know everything, because if you knew everything, you wouldn't be in situations that you're in today. So with that being said, I would love to sit down with he's 29, 30. That's 19 years, 18 years younger than me. I would love to sit down with him and have a conversation with him and be like, so what can you do? What do you suggest for me? Or I would love to sit down and pick his brain. Like, so how did you go from here to here? Because for a long time in his life, he was doing the things he was passionate about, and he didn't see value. People didn't see value in him. I totally feel that. I've totally been there with him. And I'm just like, wow. So what did you do? You can't get to the point just because you're older, meaning you can't ask or can't learn something new. These kids know so much stuff, especially with technology being how fast it's moved. Gen Xers, we've done a really good job of keeping up with technology because we were created when the technology that we currently know was being created. So we saw the transition from landlines to cell phones. We saw the transition from landlines to pagers, then cell phones. We saw the transition from 8 tracks to cassettes to DVDs to streaming, and we were able to see it and move with it. We saw the connection from VHS cassettes. Maybe some of the older Gen Xers. I'm a young X, but some of the older ones maybe remember Beta to VHS to Laserdisc. Remember Laserdisc? You don't remember Laserdisc. Laserdisc to DVDs to streaming. So we were there for this upswing. We were there to watch the transitions. We've watched cell phones come and landlines go. We've watched streaming come and DVDs go. We've watched this whole transition, so we were able to move with it. But there's now stuff that's coming up that we have never experienced before as a younger person. So now we have to learn it as an older person. So don't act like, and the way information and technology is forming, it's creating at a vibrant, fast rate. Does not mean that we're lost in it, because we still got the mentality to keep up with it. But I'm saying that to say we don't know everything anymore. These young kids know a lot. Ask some questions. Ask your kids questions. Ask your nieces and nephews questions. They'll help you figure this out, because you still have time, right? If we haven't learned anything from Vera Wang, Donna Karen, if we haven't learned anything from Colonel Sanders, we haven't learned anything from the Hilton family or the Walton family, you can still start legacy in your 50s and 60s. You just got to be able to move and figure out how to move in this world that we're living in now. And you're going to need young people to help you do that. So Charlie's one of the people that I would love to sit down and have a conversation with, because he's the way he processes things is just interesting. And how he processes things, he manifests them. He has a book called Manifestations, and he writes down things. And I've seen so many podcasts where he talks about how he's manifested a deal with Nike, and he believed that Nike was going to give him a commercial deal, and he was able to, and he's not an athlete, but he was going to have a deal where he said, I'm going to be in a commercial with LeBron James and Serena Williams. And Nike's biggest commercial to date right now is LeBron James and Serena Williams calling Kaepernick in the commercial, and then Charlie's and it's running. Like, what are we doing? Like, what happened? He don't have a jersey. He don't have an NIL deal. Like, he's created so many opportunities for so many other people just through manifestation. He's created wealth for himself just through manifestation. And listen, that's why I've always been a partner of manifestation. I've never been a partner of name it and claim it, because I think there are two different things. Name it and claim it is like, I am speaking to God or speaking to the devil and say, you're going to give me this house. Manifestation is bring me to a level of understanding where I can receive this next stage. This is where I'm going to go. And I see where I'm going to go, and I will start working my life, or I start working my business, or I start working my ministry to get to that place, so I can have this Proverbs 18:16 moment where a man's gift makes room for him and brings him before great men. Charlie tells this great story about how he met with Nike. I had a similar story years ago where I was able to sit at a table with executives from Disney. Applied for the wrong job. And they go, he's a pick. And I was selected in one of the groups that they were having interviews. At the end of the day, I thought I was coming in for one job. They thought I was coming in for another job. And it was almost like a movie. It was almost like a 1990 movie where I was like, what job are you? Like, I filled out the application for entry level, blah, blah, blah. And they were like, no, you filled out the application on accident. I apparently filled it out on accident. You filled the application for top floor management, blah, blah, blah. Like big honcho. I was in a room with so many other people, and like what you see in movies where they got the table and there was like 4 or 5 people. It wasn't a lot, but it was like 4 or 5 people that represented Disney. Everybody was suited and booted. And I was like, where am I? Like, I need to convince all 5 of y'all to wash your bathrooms. No, it wasn't that entry level, but it was entry level, but it was something entry level. And I was like, that's a really big, and it was like it was at the Burbank studios. And I remember it was just an interesting journey. And the callback was dinner. And I was like, you're taking me to dinner? I thought, and that's when I realized, I think I applied for something else, because we went to dinner and they were talking about all the responsibilities. And I was like, oh shoot, I applied for the wrong job. But the fact that I was just in the room should be an eye opener that there's value for you. Sometimes we get so caught up, and this is one of the dangers of social media. Even though we need to make it grow, social media is a gift to us to take something small and grow it to a big level. The dangers of it is if we get caught up in the narrow-mindedness of it, or we're looking at the comments, we're looking at our numbers, we're looking at views, then we're getting to the dopamine where you start just scrolling and get instant gratification. When you start getting into that level of social media, it becomes toxic and it becomes horrible. It's when it becomes wretched, because when it's dead in your face and you see all the comments calling you fat, and you see all the comments calling you this and that, and calling you the N-word and saying that you don't know what you're talking about. I get all those. You get the DMs of people saying, I wish you would just shut up and die. Like, I get those. Like, if you are a people pleaser like me, those things will frighten the hell out of you to the point where you just don't want to even be on there. You just want to get off. And I promise you, one of the biggest One of the first things when I get a big payout, the first thing I'm gonna hire is someone to manage the account, because I don't want to read those, because I'm like, I take those things personally. When I read those things, I want to get out there and want to fight. I was like, okay, we're gonna have to fight now because you said something about my mama. Like, they don't. Some people, like my homie, I have another homie named Charlie Battaglia. Shout out. He's been on the show several times before. He can read those comments, and I've seen the comments on his stuff. He can read those comments, laugh at it, and keep pushing forward. His sister's the same way, who's been on the show talking about her book. I've seen her read the comments, laugh at the comments, and the comments have been atrocious, and they just keep on pushing. I'm not built to read your comments and keep pushing. I'll read your comments and want to fight you or kill myself, one or the other. So I need to bring somebody in that kind of facilitate that for me. But I said all that to say, don't let these situations stop you from doing what you gotta do. You're in a season where, and here's my last thing, and I'm gonna go. We got to get to the point where if God called you to something, there's nothing else going to satisfy you until you do what God's. There's nothing's going to satisfy you until you're obedient. Let that sit. Nothing's going to satisfy you until you're obedient. HeritageParkPRD.com is the website. Remind you, if you don't have the HPTV app on Roku or anything that you watch TV on, Apple TV, or what's the other one? Fire TV. You can go to this website, HeritageParkPRD.com. You can watch HPTV there through there too. I'm excited. The Dove Awards are going to be playing on HPTV live tomorrow night, 7:30. There's a pre-show at 6:30. You're never, and I'm learning this my way. I'm learning the hard way too. You're never going to be satisfied with anything in life until you find the obedience that God's called you to do it. Especially when you know what God's called you to do. If you know what God's called you to do, you're never going to find, you're never going to be settled in anything else. You're never going to be content until you get into what God's called you to do. Man, thanks for watching. Thanks for sitting there and listening to me vent for 37 minutes. HeritageParkPROD.com is the website. You can get all your information about Heritage Park. The new single is out. We got a lot of new content out coming up. But God bless you guys. You have a great week. We will see you. Thanks for joining me on this Wednesday night. You guys rock. You guys are the best. I'm trying to end the app, the call, but it's not ending. There you go. All right. God bless. See you later. Peace.